Hello students, the medial compartment of the thigh. The in the medial compartment of the thigh, there are five muscles. The medial compartment of the thigh consists of the five muscles: three adductor, gracilis, and pectineus. Adductor magnus, adductor longus, adductor brevis, then gracilis and pectineus. The medial compartment of the thigh is also called as a adductor compartment because it adduct the lower limb and it is supplied by obturator nerve. Mainly obturator nerve is the main content of the medial compartment of the thigh. The intrinsic muscles of the medial compartment of the thigh includes three adductors, gracilis and pectineus. Adductor longus, brevis and magnus, pectineus and gracilis. Then extrinsic muscle, the muscle which travels through the medial compartment of the thigh is obturator externus, lie deep to the region and it is functionally related to the gluteal region, but it is the muscle that present in the deep part of the medial compartment. Then the nerves obturator nerve and accessory obturator nerve. These are the two nerves. And accessory obturator nerve is absent in some persons. Then the arteries, obturator artery, medial circumflex femoral artery. Now the muscles of the medial compartment of the thigh. The 2 mark question may be asked from this is that adductor longus, adductor brevis and adductor magnus. First of all, the adductor longus, which gets originated from the in between the pubic crest and pubic symphysis. It is all the adductors, they are inserted in the on the linea aspera. Adductor brevis, which gets originated from the pubis, then it also outer surface of the ischium. Adductor magnus, inferolateral aspect of the ischial tuberosity, and all of these 3 muscles are inserted around the linea aspera, except that there is on the lateral lip of the linea aspera there is a bicep femoris. Now gracilis, the muscle gracilis, which is originated from the inferior ramus of the pubis and it is inserted on the anterior aspect of the medial condyle of the tibia. Then muscle pectineus gets originated from the pectin pubis and line extent it is inserted on the just below and to the medial towards the posterior aspect of the just below and posterior to the lesser trochanter, the pectineus, in between the lesser trochanter and linea aspera. So these are the muscles. All of these 5 muscles, they are the adductors. Their function is adduction of the that hip joint or lower limb. They are supplied by obturator nerve. All of they are supplied by obturator nerve. The pectineus has a double nerve supply from the anterior division of the obturator nerve as well as from the posterior division of the obturator nerve. Now the relations of the adductor longus anteriorly, spermatic cord, great saphenous vein and fascia lata, femoral vessels and sartorius, posteriorly adductor brevis and adductor magnus. Anterior division of the obturator nerve and profunda femoris vessels. Lateral border there is a pectineus and medial border gracilis. These are the relations of the adductor longus. Now the obturator nerve. The expected 2 mark question is name the any 4 middle compartment muscles of the thigh. So you can easily write the three adductors: adductor longus, adductor brevis, adductor magnus, and gracilis and pectineus. But still, the 10 mark one more question is remained. That is the obturator nerve. Obturator nerve is the chief nerve of the middle compartment of the thigh. The origin of that muscle, anterior primary rim of the spinal nerves L2, L3 and L4. The upper part of this nerve lies in the pelvis and enters the thigh passing through the obturator canal. That's why that canal is being called as the obturator canal. Now, course and relations in the thigh. Within the obturator canal, the nerve divides into anterior and posterior divisions. See the diagram given above. The anterior division passes downwards in front of the obturator external, being separated from the posterior division by a few fibers of the muscle. It then descends behind the pectineus and the adductor longus and in front of the adductor brevis. The anterior division supplies the following muscles. First of all, pectineus, adductor longus, gracilis. Then adductor brevis is not supplied by posterior division. The anterior division also supplies the branch to the hip joint. Below the lower border of the adductor longus, it supplies a tweak to the subsartorial plexus and ends by supporting the femoral artery in the adductor canal. Now the posterior division of the obturator nerve, the thigh by piercing. This enters into the thigh by piercing the upper border of the obturator externus muscle. It descends behind the adductor brevis and in front of the adductor magnus. It gives branches to the following muscles: obturator externus, adductor magnus, adductor brevis. It is not supplied by anterior division. So, in the adductor canal, it is reduced to a thin genicular branch which enters the popliteal fossa, pierces the oblique popliteal ligament and ends by supplying the capsule of the knee joint and cruciate ligament of the knee joint. Some of the fibers end by innervating the popliteal artery. So, comparison between the femoral and obturator nerve, 3 to 4 differentiating points. This is a course and relations. You see the diagram through the obturator canal. The root value, what is the 2 mark question is what is the root value of the obturator nerve? L2, L3 and L4. Lumbar, anterior primary rim of the lumbar, second, third and fourth spinal nerves. Then comparison of the femoral nerve and obturator nerve. Root value, primary rim of the second, third and fourth segment of spinal cord. The root value is almost similar. Size, femoral nerve is thicker, obturator is thinner. Position in the abdomen, emerges the lateral border of the psoas major, and obturator nerve emerges the medial border of the psoas major. Exit via inguinal ligament, deep to the inguinal ligament, and obturator nerve exit in the thigh. It leaves the pelvis via obturator canal. Then branches, it gives up branches in the abdomen to the iliacus and pectineus. Obturator nerve do not give any branch in the pelvis. Branches in the thigh, supplies muscles in front of the thigh, the quadriceps femoris and sartorius, and a big cutaneous branches in front, medial, intermediate and lateral of the aspect of the thigh. Then the obturator nerve supply all the muscles of the thigh, gives very small unnamed cutaneous branches. The cutaneous branches are small. So this posterior division there may be accessory obturator nerve in 30% of the subject. In 70% of the subject, म्हणजे जगातल्या दुनिया में के 70% लोगों को एसेसरी ऑब्चुरेटर नर्व नहीं होता. It is the branch of the lumbar plexus formed by the ventral division of the anterior primary rami of the L2, L3 and L4. It descends along with the middle border of the psoas major, crosses the superior ramus of the pubis behind the pectineus and terminates by dividing into three branches. One branch supplies the deep surface of the pectineus and another supplies the hip joint, and the third communicate with the anterior division of the obturator nerve. Sometimes the nerve is very small and ends by supplying the pectineus only. So, see the diagram above, which is sent to you already, the accessory obturator nerve. Then, important clinical anatomy, testing of the adductor. Obturator nerve supplied to the adductors. So, for testing of the adductor, patient is asked to adduct the thigh, and it is registered by physician. And if there is a difficulty in adducting, see, testing the adductor, the patient lies supine with the right lower limb abducted, the right hand of the physician, the thigh is being abducted, and hold the leg in the abducted position. Patient is requested to pull thigh medially against the resistance of the physician with the hand, while his left hand feels the contracting adductor muscles. Spasm of the adductors of the thigh is a certain intractable cases of the spastic paraplegia may be relieved by surgical division of the obturator nerve. Obturator nerve, anterior and posterior divisions remain together and is separated by separating surgically to avoid the spastic paraplegia. The third clinical anatomy point, obturator nerve may be involved with femoral nerve in retroperitoneal growths, nerve entombment syndrome leading to the chronic pain on the medial side of thigh may occur in athletes with big adductor muscles. So, testing of the adductor is important. You should know as a physician in your future. The gracilis muscle, most superficial muscle of the adductor compartment. This muscle often used for transplantation of the any damaged muscle. Intracapsular fracture of the neck of the femur causes damage to the retinacular branches, which supply the head of the femur, leading to the vascular necrosis of the head of the femur. That is not a clinical anatomy of the obturator nerve. Only the gracilis grafting, choice of muscle for muscle grafting, and because it is most superficial muscle, and testing of the adductors and accessory. Name the structures supplied by accessory obturator nerve. How many branches are there? And it supplies to the deep surface of the pectineus, hip joint, and third communicate with the anterior division of the obturator nerve. It gives three branches. Accessory obturator nerve. Name the branches of the obturator nerve. Name the muscle supplied by obturator nerve. Name the medial compartment muscles of the medial aspect of the thigh or medial compartment of the thigh. What is root value of the obturator nerve, and what is the root value of the accessory obturator nerve? So these are the questions they are routinely asked. Gracilis is the most medial muscle in the medial compartment of the thigh. What is nerve supplied the hamstrings? Part of the adductor magnus. Hamstring part of the adductor magnus is supplied by tibial part of the sciatic nerve. Accessory obturator nerve supplies to the muscle both pectineus and hip joint. What is the action of the ischial part of the adductor magnus? The ischial part of the adductor magnus flexes the knee, an extension of the hip. Which of the following is the hybrid muscle? Adductor magnus is called as a hybrid muscle. Name the hybrid muscle in the thigh is the adductor magnus. So this is about obturator nerve, which is being asked as a 10 marks question, and medial compartment muscles of the thigh. So medial aspect of the thigh, all the muscle gets originated from the hip bone is inserted, except that gracilis is inserted on the medial condyle of the tibia. That is one of the gyrocs. Another gyrocs are the sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus. These are the muscles collectively called as. In between them there is a bursa which separate their insertion. It's called as a Ansarian bursa. Ansarian bursa that separate the insertions of the three. They are called as gyrocs. Why? Because gracilis is coming from the medial compartment of the thigh, sartorius is coming from the anterior compartment of the thigh, and semitendinosus coming from the posterior compartment of the thigh. Name the hamstring muscles: semimembranosus, semitendinosus, bicep femoris, and the sciatic part of the adductor magnus is also one of the hamstring muscles. Now the next is the gluteal region muscles. There are what are the structures in the gluteal region or in the buttock? You know, the gluteal region. Gluteal region consists of 10 muscles. It consists of two important arteries. One is the superior gluteal artery and inferior gluteal artery, and important nerve, thickest nerve in the body is the sciatic nerve. So first of all, don't neglect, this is the choice of site for the intramuscular injections, upper and lateral quadrant of the gluteal region, the choice of site. First of all, we will discuss only the muscles which are present in the gluteal region. First one, you know, gluteal region. The gluteal region consists of 10 muscles. 10 muscles: gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus. Then piriformis, superior gemmelli and inferior gemmelli, obturator internus, quadratus femoris, obturator externus, and tensor fasciae lata. These are the muscles, 10 muscles in the gluteal region. I again revise 3 gluteal muscles: gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus. Piriformis, superior gemelli, inferior gemelli, obturator internus, quadratus femoris, obturator externus, and tensor fasciae lata, that origin from the iliac crest. These muscles origin especially from the dorsal that is not pelvic, the lateral surface of the ilium or ischium or from pubis, but most of them get originated from the ilium, and they may be inserted down in another places on the femur, especially on the femur. So all of these muscles are inserted on the femur. The gluteal muscles, even that superior gemelli, inferior gemelli in the trochanteric fossa, then obturator internus and obturator externus in the trochanteric fossa, around the trochanteric fossa, and tensor fasciae lata that forms the iliotibial tract along with the fibers of the gluteus maximus. Gluteus maximus is inserted on the femur at the junction gluteus maximus on the gluteal line, which goes towards the that greater trochanter gluteal line, and that spiral line goes towards the lesser trochanter. So there is a gluteal tuberosity on that. From the gluteal tuberosity the gluteus maximus is inserted on the gluteal line, and some fibers pass along with the tensor fascia lata. So these are the 10 muscles. Then so these are the muscles. See, in the clinical anatomy, although this is a although this is not exam oriented question, as a physician, डॉक्टर म्हणून आपल्याला त्या गोष्टींची माहिती पाहिजे. सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे कुठे इंजेक्शन द्यायचं नाही आणि कुठे इंजेक्शन इंट्रामस्क्युलर इंजेक्शन द्यायचं फॉर अ surface anatomy of the sciatic nerve. Secondly, after injecting the needle आतमध्ये टाकल्यानंतर you have to aspirate. थोडीशी एक पिस्टन थोडा मागे ओढायचा असं to avoid that needle is not pass in the artery. needle किंवा व्हेन मध्ये एखादी तुम्ही इंट्रामस्क्युलर इंजेक्शन देताना सुई आतमध्ये टाकल्यानंतर थोडं ओढायचं असतं आणि शुअर करायचं असतं की ही सुई व्हेन किंवा आर्टरीमध्ये गेली नाही. व्हेन किंवा आर्टरीमध्ये गेल्यानंतर काय होईल, ब्लड येईल तुम्ही मागं खेचल्यावर आणि मगच इंजेक्शन पुश करायचं. सो टू अवॉइड द इंट्रा आर्टेरियल और इंट्राव्हेनस एंट्रन्स ऑफ द नीडल you have to push the piston back. Now testing the gluteus maximus, patient lies prone. The right hand of the physician presses the patient's right leg downwards. Patient is requested to extend the hip against the resistance provided by the physician's right hand, while his left hand feels the contracting gluteus maximus muscle. Gluteus maximus muscle ला लेफ्ट हँड ठेवायचा, खाली दाबायचं, पेशंटला सांगायचं तू वरती कर. पेशंटने वरती करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला, तो डाव्या हाताखालचा जो ग्लुटियस मॅक्सिमस मसल आहे तो कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट होईल. दॅट इज अ टेस्टिंग ऑफ द ग्लुटियस मॅक्सिमस मसल. When the gluteus maximus is paralyzed and the muscular dystrophy, the patient cannot stand up from a sitting posture without support. Such a patient, खूप महत्त्वाचं, व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट, एखाद्या पेशंटला जर खाली बसलेलं असेल आणि उठून उभं राहता येत नसेल, इफ ही इज अनेबल टू स्टँड अप फ्रॉम द सिटिंग पोझिशन, दॅट मीन्स देर इज अ muscular dystrophy of the gluteus maximus muscle. And just I have told, the intramuscular injections are given in the anterior superior quadrant of the gluteal region, in the gluteal medius and minimus, to avoid injury to the large vessels and nerves which pass through the lower part of the region. Gluteus region is not prominent in the buttock only, it is very big area over the iliac bone. So the intramuscular injections are given in the gluteal region, in the anterior superior quadrant, where gluteus medius, all the three gluteal muscles are there, the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus. When the gluteus medius and minimus on the right side are paralyzed, patient cannot walk normally. He bends and waddles in the right side or paralyzed side to clear the opposite foot, left off ground, thus known as a lurching gait. When bilateral, it is called as a wadding gait. दचकत चालतं. ज्या साईडचा पॅरालिसिस असतो त्याच्या अपोजिट साईडला पेशंट लचकत चालतो. That is called as a lurching gait. The normal gait depends upon the proper abduction mechanism of both hips. The mechanism comprises to the adequate power, fulcrum, and the weight transmitted by the head and neck of the femur. See, Trendelenburg sign. This is one of the askable question, and you must know what is Trendelenburg sign. See, normally when the body weight is supported on one limb, the glute of the supported side raise the opposite and unsupported side of the pelvis. However, if the abductor mechanism is defensive, unsupported side of the pelvis drops and this is known as a positive Trendelenburg site. I again revise. Normally, when the body weight is supported on the one leg, the gluteal, the gluteal, all the three gluteal muscles. If you raise the foot, the supported side will cooperate, but the other side will not cooperate, and this is called as a positive Trendelenburg side. Secondly, the gluteus medius, and we have already discussed about the medius and minimus, the paralysis of this. All of they are supplied by superior gluteal nerves. So all of these are the testing of the gluteus maximus, Trendelenburg sign, paralysis, and muscular dystrophy. In the muscular dystrophy, we have seen the patient is unable to stand from the sitting position, that leads to the paralysis of the gluteus maximus muscle. So these are the 5 important clinical anatomy point. Then the gluteus maximus muscle testing. You have to keep your left hand on the gluteal region of the patient and ask the patient to raise to bend the knee and resist it by your right hand, and test with the left hand if the gluteus maximus is contracting after resistance or after applying of the force by the patient. It will contract. That means the gluteus maximus is still working. That is the testing of the gluteus maximus muscle. Then the site of the intramuscular injection, the upper diagram, you will get the site of the intramuscular injection. So these are the some important points. And sciatic nerve, we have already seen the sciatic nerve. It comes from the pelvis, then it enters into the gluteal region. Course of the sciatic nerve in the pelvis, course of the sciatic nerve in the gluteal region, and then it enters at the upper part of the popliteal fossa, where it divides into medial larger tibial branch and the smaller superficial common peroneal branch, and it supplies to the hamstring muscles. So it is the thickest nerve of the body that remains in the gluteal region. So 10 muscles: superior gluteal artery, inferior gluteal artery, and sciatic nerve. And utility: the gluteus maximus is the largest muscle of the body. All of they are supplied by superior and inferior gluteal arteries and the branches of the gluteal nerves and gluteal arteries. So these gluteal region muscles, although they are not long, but it is the biggest muscle which gives to what you call as the gluteal region, or the in civil language is said as a buttocks. Okay, so 10 gluteal muscles, sciatic nerve, and the artery and the nerve. Sciatic nerve is the important. Generally, you have to choose the lateral half for the intramuscular injection. Lateral half, not to the medial side. Medially, there is a sciatic nerve, course of the sciatic nerve. So, one more thing: injury to the sciatic nerve in weak debilitated persons may be there due to the wrong technique of the intramuscular injections. It may lead to the injury to the sciatic nerve that leads to the paralysis of the hamstrings. If it is injured in the due to the injection, the hamstring, there will be a hamstring problem to the patient, and patient is unable to jump, to run, or even standing position. It gets difficult, especially the running, jumping, and walking gets difficulty in the running and jumping due to this hamstrings. If it is injured, that is the clinical importance of the gluteal region, and a safe intramuscular injection. Actually, the intramuscular injections are given in the gluteus medius and minimus, but maximus is also there because that quadrant is very big and that site is very big. So, and care should be taken for aspiration of a piston of your injection. So, you have to try to avoid injury to the nerve. We have already seen back of the thigh consists of only 3 muscles, and they are hamstring muscles. Bicep femoris having 2 heads. Short head gets originated from the linea aspera, and that it has a and long head gets originated from the ischium, and that is inserted on the fibula, and that semitendinosus and semimembranosus is inserted on the one of the condyles of the tibia, on the condyles of the tibia onto the medial side, because tibia is the medial bone and fibula is a lateral bone. So bicep femoris has a long head, short head from the femur and long head from the hip bone. All of these 3 are supplied by sciatic nerve. The anterior compartment muscles of the thigh we have already seen, the quadriceps femoris muscle and sartorius. These are the 5 anterior compartment muscles of the thigh. All of them are supplied by sartorius. Posterior compartment muscles of the thigh, they are supplied by sciatic nerve. And just we have seen the medial compartment of the thigh is supplied by the obturator nerve and accessory obturator nerve. Okay, keep in mind the root values of the femoral nerve, root values of the obturator nerve, and root values of the sciatic nerve. See, during the study you have to refer the diagram. I have sent you the diagrams of all of these along with the discussion of these structures. Okay. One more short note from the lower extremity is the dorsalis pedis artery. As all of you know that popliteal artery divides into anterior tibial artery and posterior tibial artery. The anterior tibial artery continues along with the shin of the tibia, and it comes in front of the ankle joint, where that artery when comes in front of the ankle joint is called as a dorsalis pedis artery. This dorsalis pedis artery comes on the dorsum of the foot. And gives 5 to 6 branches on the dorsum of the foot. So that this is the chief palpable artery on the dorsum of the foot. It is commonly palpated in patients with the vaso-occlusive disease of the lower limb. It is a continuation of the anterior tibial artery onto the dorsum of the foot. Now the beginning. This artery begins in front of the ankle joint between the 2 malleoli. It is in between medial and lateral malleoli. That is called as a dorsalis pedis artery. Undercover of the superior extensor retinaculum. It comes down from the Y-shaped inferior extensor retinaculum. See, the dorsalis pedis artery, the dorsalis pedis artery can be palpated. It can be palpated in front of the especially in the vascular diseases like aneurysm. Pulsations can be taken from there also. So here this artery has a relation superficial skin fascia in inferior extensor retinaculum. extensor hallucis brevis, which crosses the artery from the lateral to the medial side. Deep relation, capsular ligament of the posteriorly there is an ankle joint, anteriorly skin, superficial fascia, and inferior extensor retinaculum. Then deeply there is a talus, lower end of the tibia. Then medially extensor hallucis longus, and laterally first tendon of the extensor digitorum longus, and medial terminal branch of the deep peroneal nerve. Now the branches: lateral tarsal artery, medial tarsal artery, and arcuate artery. These are the main three important branches, and first dorsal metatarsal artery. These are the four important branches derived from the dorsalis pedis artery. See, lateral tarsal artery, medial tarsal artery, arcuate artery. It gives of second, third, and fourth dorsal metatarsal arteries. Then the first dorsal metatarsal artery. These are the four important branches. From third, that is from the arcuate artery, it again divides into three branches. The branches are second, third, and fourth dorsal metatarsal arteries. So you can give 2 marks question, maybe ask name the branches of the dorsalis pedis artery. So you can write lateral tarsal artery, medial tarsal artery, arcuate artery, and the first dorsal metatarsal artery. Any 2 branches of the dorsalis pedis artery. In the clinical anatomy, the dorsalis pedis artery pulsations are taken. For what? Pulsations of the dorsalis pedis artery are easily felt between the tendon of the extensor hallucis longus and the first tendon of the extensor digitorum longus. The tendons from medial to lateral. If you do foot dorsiflexion of the foot, you will get 4 tendons. The most medial tendon is tibialis anterior, then extensor hallucis longus, then extensor digitorum longus, and peroneal tertius. In between the extensor hallucis longus and extensor digitorum longus, the dorsalis pedis artery pass. To the medial side, the dorsalis pedis artery, there is a deep peroneal nerve, and the veins. The veins are there. For most medially, there is a great saphenous vein. Medial to the tibialis posterior, the arteries that gather together to form the veins that gather together to form the tributaries of the great saphenous vein or long saphenous vein starts. So it is more to be medial. It is medial to the tendon of the the tibialis anterior. So pulse is important. See, dorsalis pedis artery is congenitally absent in 40% of the subjects or patients. So you may not get the pulsation of a dorsalis pedis artery. It may happen. So all of these are rather than the study, these are the study in your future. You have to palpate the dorsalis artery pulsations, femoral pulsations, popliteal artery pulsations. You have to take and come to the conclusion. Then what are the muscles in the lateral compartment of the leg? We already discussed. Leg has only 3 compartments: anterior compartment, posterior compartment, and lateral compartment. Medial, whole of the medial, there is no medial compartment. It is just medial surface of the whole of the tibia, which is subcutaneous. And laterally there are only 2 muscles: peroneal longus and peroneal brevis. Both of them gets originated from the fibula and comes behind the lateral malleolus, 2 tendons, and they are covered by a retinaculum. That is called as a peroneal retinaculum. Under cover of this peroneal retinaculum, there are two tendons. The nearer tendon, which is nearer to the lateral malleolus, is a peroneal longus, and behind the peroneal longus, which is behind or which is deep, is peroneal brevis. So two tendons of the peroneal muscle passes back to the lateral malleolus. This there may be tenosynovitis of peroneal tendon is the inflammation of the tendon sheaths of the peroneal muscle. If superior peroneal retinaculum is torn, the tendons can get dislocated in front of the lateral malleolus. So the lateral malleolus bound the tendon. These are the tendons, and this is a covering by the retinaculum. Extensor, the tendons of the four muscles of the anterior compartment are also bounded by the retinaculum, and laterally the three deep tendons of the deep muscles of the back of the leg has also covering by the retinaculum, and the muscles are tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and flexor hallucis longus. They also, and that retinaculum is called as the flexor retinaculum. So three retinaculi are there in front around the ankle joint. One is the flexor retinaculum, another is the extensor retinaculum, and to the lateral side, back and below to the lateral malleolus, there is a peroneal retinaculum. In front of the ankle, there is an extensor. Extensor retinacula are two, superior and inferior Y-shaped, and to the medial side, there is a flexor retinaculum. Here is also retinaculum in front of the wrist, flexor retinaculum and extensor retinaculum, which binds. Function of the retinaculum is to keep the tendons of the muscle in a position, do not allow to move the tendons. If the peroneal retinaculum is torn, टूट गई, तो वो टेंडन lateral malleolus के ऊपर आ जाती है. So tendons may come out, and that is called as a tendinitis of the peroneal muscle. Very simple. If the retinaculum is torn, the tendon comes out, or they are not bounded in one place. The bounding is lost. So tendons will come here and there after the movement. So that may lead to the inflammation also. Then the paralysis of peroneal brevis and peroneal longus occurs in the injury to the superficial peroneal nerve of the foot, cannot be everted at the subtalar. You know, the superficial peroneal nerve passes in front of that head of the fibula, superficial peroneal nerve, and that supplies to the superficial peroneal nerve supplied to the peroneal muscles, and deep peroneal nerve supplied to the anterior compartment of the leg, and the posterior compartment of the leg is supplied by tibial nerve. The tibial nerve, posterior tibial nerve. Okay. Now, if that nerve is injured at the neck of the fibula, superficial peroneal nerve, there is a paralysis of the peroneal longus as well as peroneal brevis, because it is paralyzed. It is injured above the level of the nerves coming to the peroneal longus and peroneal brevis. So one should keep in mind that injury to the superficial peroneal nerve leads to the paralysis of the peroneal longus. Injury to the deep peroneal nerve leads to the paralysis of the extensors of the leg, the tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus, and peroneal tertius. And if the deep muscles of the back of the leg, if they get injured, there is a paralysis of the deep flexors of the leg. If tibial nerve is injured, tibial nerve generally do not get injured, more chances of the superficial peroneal nerve injury is more common. Peroneal longus and peroneal brevis, both of these peroneal muscles come from that fibula. And they are inserted in the bones of the foot. Just a revision of the 2 marks question. What are the layers of the sole of the foot? Sole of the foot has 4 layers: first, second, third, and fourth. The layers of the muscles of the layers of the foot. Then layers of the foot consist of the 4 layers. Then the what are the actions of the subtalar joint? Eversion and eversion. Inversion, do the face of the sole medially, and eversion. This is the action in the subtalar joint. Subtalar joint, and dorsiflexion and plantar flexion are the actions in the moments of the ankle joint. Subtalar joint is the joint in between the talus, calcaneus, and navicular bone. So these are the this is the moment and the joints. Secondly, the muscles of anterior compartment of the leg, that is tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus, and peroneal textus. Muscles of the superficial muscles of the back of the leg, they are 2 heads of the gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. Deep muscles are flexor tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, and flexor digitorum longus. The lateral compartment muscles of the leg are the peroneal longus and peroneal brevis. Okay, now the branches of the dorsalis pedis artery we have seen. Then the bones of the foot, tarsal bones. There are 5 metatarsal. One name the 7 tarsal bones: calcaneus, talus, cuboid, navicular, medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, and lateral cuneiform bones. Okay. Now, what type of joint is a ankle joint? It is a condyloid variety of the synovial joint, and knee joint is one of the compound joint. Synovial compound, it is compound joint. Then it is a limited. Name the actions of the ankle joint: dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Now what is locking and unlocking of the knee joint? Name the muscles of locking and unlocking of the knee joint. Locking is via quadriceps femoris muscles, and unlocking is with the help of the muscle popliteus. Locking, name the muscles responsible. 2 marks question may be asked. Name the muscles responsible for the locking and unlocking of the knee joint. That is the first of all, the quadriceps femoris muscles, rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, and vastus medialis. And unlocking is with the help of the popliteus. Name the ligaments of the ankle joint. Middle ligament is deltoid ligament, then capsular ligament, and the lateral ligament. Middle ligament is also called as a deltoid ligament. Okay. Now the tarsal bones we have seen. Then branches of the dorsalis pedis artery, tributaries of the great saphenous vein, and tributaries of the short saphenous. Short saphenous vein opens into the popliteal vein, and great saphenous vein directly opens. Great saphenous vein starts from in front of the medial malleolus, and short saphenous vein starts behind the lateral malleolus. Short saphenous vein opens into the popliteal vein, and great saphenous vein opens into the femoral vein. Along great saphenous vein is the longest vein of the body, so it has tributaries. Lastly, it opens into the femoral vein, as all of you know, the great saphenous vein. The tributaries of the great saphenous vein, the first one, long saphenous vein, the tributaries, 3 superficial before opening, and the profunda femoris vein, and medial and lateral. Then the 3 superficial veins, the names are same like that of a branches of the femoral artery. Then great saphenous vein, short saphenous vein as the tributaries of the popliteal vein, the superficial and deep, and what is calf pump? Calf pump is said to the muscle soleus, is said as a calf pump. There are 15 to 20 valves in the long saphenous vein and around 10 valves in the short saphenous vein. The Trendelenburg's test. What is Trendelenburg's test? When the deep veins are thrombosed, it gives rise to the varicosity of the veins. Then the ligaments of the hip joint. There are 7 ligaments of the hip joint. Capsular ligament, ligament of the head of the femur, then the acetabular labrum, iliofemoral ligament, ischiofemoral ligament, and pubofemoral ligament. In addition to this, there is a transverse ligament of the hip joint. Then the ligaments of the ankle joint, the capsular ligament of the knee joint, capsular ligament of the knee joint, then the anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament, and the fibular collateral ligament and tibial collateral ligament. And ligamentum patelli, it is nothing but the continuation of the quadriceps femoris muscles which are inserted on the superior border of the patella, and some fibers comes downward. That is nothing but the ligamentum patelli. So thank you for today. So I have been revised some of the and some diagrams that I am sending along with that. Thank you. So as all of you know better, the probable 2 marks question from the uh, today's lecture, not only from today's lecture, generally the muscles supplied by particular nerve, name of the branches and tributaries of the veins. Secondly, origin and insertion of the muscle. Name the muscles, a group of muscles, for example quadriceps femoris muscles. Name the calf muscles. Name the deep muscles of the back of the leg. Then uh, the group of hamstrings, like that. Then some ligaments of the joints are being asked. Nerves of the joint may be asked. As all of you know, the joint, hip joint and the knee joint has a double nerve supply. So wherever there is a double nerve supply to the joint, may have a referred pains. Referred pains are there wherever there is a double nerve supply. So one must have to keep in mind. So the most and prior importance of the diagrams, if you are able to sketch the diagram, so you can easily demonstrate the things very easily and you can understand. So if you go through the clinical anatomy, that pink colored last, which is useful you in your life, which is useful you in your life. For example, see that Trendelenburg test. एखाद्या पेशंटला व्हेरिकोसिटी आहे का नाही ते कसं ओळखायचं, बाय प्रेसिंग द वेन, करेक्ट, सिपनस वेन. The Trendelenburg test to fulfill the vein is being compressed at the saphenous opening, and patient is asked. See, I will revise you that Trendelenburg test. If the patient has some problem in the एक 2 मिनिटं राहिले. What is Becker's cyst? One more question. That is osteoarthritis of the knee joint. What is Coxa vara? A clinical. What is elephantitis? That is inflammation of the lymph nodes or lymphatic channels, like that leads to the swelling, especially the lower limb. What is calf pump? Muscle soleus is called as a calf pump. Branches of the posterior tibial artery consist of the lateral plantar artery and medial plantar artery and its branches. Plantar metatarsal, common plantar, digital branches. They are the branches of the posterior tibial artery. Nerve supply of the muscles of the sole, medial plantar nerve and lateral plantar nerve. They are the branches of the posterior tibial nerve, which is compressed in the undercover of the tendons of the flexor muscle, deep flexors of the leg. is called as, what is the clinical anatomy of compression of the uh, tibial nerve, deep tibial nerve in the deep tendons of the back of the leg or undercover of the flexor retinaculum is called as the tarsal tunnel syndrome. Talipes equina, Talipes vulgus, the clinical anatomy that we have already discussed. Name the arches of the foot. Ankle joint is a common site of the gout because you know that uric acid is heavy, and if the composition of the uric acid, if uric acid level is increased, it comes in the, especially in the distal joints and especially in the ankle joint, and there is a swelling called as a gout. Gout, G-O-U-T, when accumulation of the uric acid in the distal joint, that is very common site of the swelling. Cruciate ligaments of the knee joint may get injured. What is Buddy's plaster? You know, if one fracture of one of the toe or finger, the phalangeal fracture is there. At that time, to heal, the another finger is used, and that is, they are bounded by, they are tied by one tie and kept in normal position for 21 days, and healing is a tendency of the bone, and the bone heals. No necessity to do surgery unnecessary if it is there, but generally the pieces of these phalangeal bones heals by Buddy's plaster or by Buddy's. Thank you so much.